my name is Robin Takashi Lewis, and I'm the Representative Director of Social Innovation Japan and the co-founder of mymizu. At our organization, we are really dedicated to fostering social entrepreneurship and social innovation in Japan and in other countries too. Specifically, we have three main focus areas. Firstly, we develop our own social innovation products and services, one of which is called mymizu, and I can introduce later on. Secondly, we offer training and educational services for many companies to help them build and empower their talent to solve social and environmental problems, as well as many schools and universities, including the United Nations University. And thirdly, we do community building through events, workshops, gatherings focused on sustainability and social innovation to bring people together and co-create solutions for good. So in essence, we're really trying to build a movement for social innovation, for social impact from Japan, but also working with many partners around the world to build a brighter and more sustainable future. The product is called mymizu, and mizu in Japanese means water. And what it is, it's a crowdsourced and co-created platform that connects people around the world to plastic-free water points, where you can refill your reusable bottle instead of buying plastic bottles every single time. And what we do is we provide a web platform and an app where people can add information of water points and geolocations. And so we're co-creating this entirely new ecosystem where people can stay away from plastic, but also hydrate and stay healthy. So on top of public water points, like in the train stations or the airports, we have over 2,400 member shops, restaurants, hotels, both big names like IKEA and Hilton and Patagonia, all the way to very small family-owned businesses where they provide water for free without the plastic. And in return, they get people walking through their door, their front entrance, seeing their products, and it's a great way to connect with new customers. Furthermore, we go beyond technology, actually. We work with a lot of brands like Nike, for example. We work with many local governments as well to help them reduce plastic waste. And we work with many schools and many universities as well to help reduce plastic waste. So this is really a simple idea to reshape, redesign the way that we hydrate just without the plastic. And that is mymizu in a nutshell. Firstly, I would say that we take a systems approach. And what I mean by this is we address the plastic waste challenge by looking upstream. So we look at reduction instead of recycling, for example. They're both very important solutions, but for us, reducing plastic waste at the point of usage is the most effective solution. Secondly, our offering to people is very, very simple and very enjoyable. And I think the beauty of a simple idea is that anyone can take part, from 4 years old to 100 years old. And we do have primary school students all the way to octogenarians and others using mymizu as well. Thirdly, I would say co-creation. Everything we do with mymizu is co-created. What I mean by this is that we have all of our partner stores, shops, hotels, they're all joining out of their own goodwill every single day. We have people around the world across some 50 countries adding data about water via our app every single day as well. Thirdly, we also have open sourced our web app. So that means that anyone who has coding skills, programming abilities can contribute to the mymizu web app through their programming. And fourthly, we have really a strong focus on multi-stakeholder engagement. And what I mean by this is that we work with schools, universities, major brands, local governments, small family-run businesses. We really work with a very broad range of people. So that aspect of what we do, I think, is quite unique. And honestly, when we're trying to build a new social infrastructure, which is what we're trying to do, we have to work with everyone to make a change. So that's why we do what we do. When we launched mymizu in 2019, there were not that many consumer-facing and large-scale solutions in Japan that I saw and that my co-founder Mariko saw as well. So we knew that there was an opportunity to do something really exciting. We'd also been working with mainly Japanese companies for many years in helping to create solutions related to sustainable development. But we felt a slight frustration because we thought, surely with all of the technology, the innovation, the talent that we have in Japan, we can do something really, truly special. Around that time, Mariko, my co-founder, and I went to Okinawa in the south of Japan, and we just saw a huge amount of plastic waste that was washed up on the shore. So that's when we thought, okay, let's dive in. Let's really try and solve this problem using creativity and technology innovation and come up with something really interesting. So it all began as an experiment back in 2019, and now here we are 4 years later, and we've built this ecosystem thanks to many, many thousands of people around the world. So we focus on resource efficiency. Plastic, of course, comes from oil. All of the CO2 involved in moving around, transporting water for drinking and other uses is actually quite a major challenge environmentally. On top of that, we have other environmental issues like the plastic going into the oceans and leaking into our natural systems. But for us, we look at mymizu as a way to optimize our resource usage. And specifically, we have hundreds of thousands of people using the platform, and we measure things like how many plastic bottles and how much plastic waste have we reduced. Secondly, we look at how much CO2, carbon dioxide, have we reduced by using our refillable item as opposed to a single-use item. Thirdly, we look at how much water have we drunk. This is very important, especially during the hot summer here in Japan, where people sometimes get sick and even have serious medical challenges because of heat stroke and dehydration. And fourthly, we look at how much money has been saved. Right now, with the cost of living crisis and the rising prices around us, we see an increasing number of people using mymizu also for financial reasons, not just for sustainability. So for us, we always say mymizu, it's good for your body because you're drinking, it's good for your wallet because you're saving money, and thirdly, it's good for the planet because we're reducing plastic. The product is very user-friendly. We have people in primary school using it. We have people who are much, much older using it as well. We have a very broad user base. So it is accessible by smartphone, specifically both iOS and Android. We also launched an open source web app last year, so anyone can use it from a browser as well. So in terms of usability, it's very, very, very user-friendly. And I have to give my respect to our UX and UI, user experience and user interface teams, who have done an incredible job of building such an easy to use and simple system. We also track and incentivize people by helping them measure their impact. I think this is very, very important because ultimately technology has to be used by people, and it has to be used by people over quite a long term, So we incentivize people by tracking how much plastic they save, how much money they save, how much water they drink, as I mentioned earlier, and that helps to incentivize people over the long term. Similarly, we look at both the individual impact, so how much have I made an impact using mymizu, and then we connect that to the community impact. How much plastic have we saved as a community? And so far, we've saved millions and millions of plastic bottles, and that number is growing every single day. As I mentioned before, the mymizu platform is currently used across some 50 countries, mainly in Japan, but we do have many users in countries across Asia as well. So there are definitely opportunities to use mymizu. What I would emphasize is that because it's a crowdsourced and co-created platform, it requires people to contribute. So let's say I'm an individual in an APO member country, then I would ideally start adding information about where can I access water. And I would also perhaps encourage some local shops, restaurants, and businesses to join. We do have already many partner stores across different countries in Asia as well, including Singapore and others. So I would say yes, definitely use mymizu, try it, but also actively contribute, because the more we have people using mymizu, the more data that we can collect, and the more points we have across the world, then the better the platform for everyone. So we do have now across 200,000, over 200,000 refill points around the world, and we're hoping to just keep going and keep going and keep going in the future. Our philosophy is very much in line with circular economy. And the idea is that we design out waste from the very inception of a product or service. Specifically with water, what we've done is we haven't actually created anything new. We haven't created any new physical infrastructure. But what we've done is we have created a system whereby we better leverage and better use existing infrastructure like water. So this is really important because a lot of our assets around us in society are not being fully utilized. So, for example, when we have shops and hotels and cafes joining, they already give out water anyway. So we're just helping to direct more people to those locations. And the great thing for the shops and cafes and businesses is that for them, it's an almost free way to get customers through the door, and for people to understand more about their business and see their products and smell them and actually experience them. So it's a very simple win-win-win model. Going back to the impact that we create, well, purely from an environmental perspective, we're helping to reduce carbon dioxide emissions because we're reducing plastic usage. Secondly, we're tackling ocean waste issues. There is a lot of plastic every year that does go into the oceans, a lot of it coming from Asia as well. So we're reducing ocean waste. Thirdly, in terms of financial impact, we're helping users to reduce their monthly spending on plastic bottles and beverages. And fourthly, we're helping people to stay hydrated and safe, especially during the summer, when in Japan, for example, it's a very, very, very important topic that how to keep people safe during the hot summer season. So those are some of the ways that we create an impact through what we do. Well, our goal by 2030 is to provide access to plastic-free water around the world, everywhere. And in order to achieve this, we need people's collaborations, people's cooperation, and we also need to expand our technology stack as well. So we are continuing to expand our open source web app where anyone can contribute via their programming coding skills, and we're adding new technology features every month, every quarter. So we have very high ambitions to connect everyone in the world with plastic-free water. And I would also like to share that we're working with several educational institutions as well on how to implement this model in countries without potable water. So we actually looked at, for example, India, we looked at Kenya, Ethiopia, working with a very esteemed graduate school here in Japan. So we do have right now, while we're focusing mainly on countries with potable water, we are also looking at how to scale this model to countries where potable water is less accessible. So I'm very excited for the future, and we do have very, very strong ambitions going forward. Well, I touched upon this earlier, but our entire platform is co-created. And so we really we need people to contribute to what we're doing, not just by adding water data via the app, but also by encouraging their favorite shops, cafes, and hotels to join. We've also open source, we've made freely available posters and graphics for people to use. You can see one behind me here. We have lots and lots of ways that people can contribute to mymizu. And so for more information, please do check out our website. We do have a whole menu of things that people can do. And I strongly encourage APO member countries and individuals to please take part and help us to grow this movement for across the world. I think firstly, we have a very clear mission. What we're doing is creating a new social infrastructure, and it takes time, but as long as you have a clear mission, as long as you can engage people and encourage people to take part and be part of the solution, I think there's a real opportunity to scale. So firstly, I would say having a clear mission. Secondly, I would say storytelling has been very important for us. We always tell the story of why this is necessary and how your action, your involvement can make an impact. And that's been really critical from day one. We've put so much energy and time into how we tell the story of mymizu and how we encourage people to take part. Alongside that, we also tend to use very positive messaging. So with a lot of environmental technologies, it's often somewhat negative or scare tactics are used. So you, for example, have shocking images and a very serious messaging. And while that kind of approach is very, very much necessary, we also believe that providing a positive vision for people and trying to pull them in with a positive outlook can actually be almost more effective. So we really focus on communications with a positive angle as well. Thirdly, I would say our team is incredibly diverse and incredibly talented group of people. We have members from at least 6 countries who are all contributing different skills, different experiences, different talents. And that diverse team has been a really just critical part of our growth as well. So those are some of the things that I think have helped us move quickly and grow quickly in Japan. But I would also like to thank or at least acknowledge the incredible role of our supporters, our partners, the individuals who have taken part in the mymizu movement via our app and platform. Without them, none of this would exist. So it's really been a collective effort by hundreds of thousands of people who have taken part and contributed to mymizu. I would say that productivity in a sustainable development context, it can mean resource efficiency. So how do we use our limited, finite resources on this planet to not just be sustainable, not just sustain ourselves, but actually create net positive or regenerative growth? How do we actually add positive value to society with the finite resources that we have? Alongside this, I would say that innovation is important, but innovation for what, right? Does it make sense to invest so much time and energy to making a coffee machine that is 10% faster? Or can we redirect some of that talent, some of that energy, some of that technology and creativity to a really important or pressing social challenge or social issue? So I would say, yes, productivity is super important, and innovation is important. But more importantly, how do we use those skills and those mindsets to not just make incremental changes in society, but how do we use those skills and technologies and creativity to actually address a real problem, whether it's gender equality, whether it's human rights, whether it's environmental sustainability. There are so many problems for us to tackle, and I think it's a really exciting and good time to use innovation and productivity to meet those challenges. mymizu is just one example of a sustainability related innovation. There are so many other ones in Japan, in many other countries around the world. I would say one thing that ties them all together is this common thread that we can use our limited time and our limited energy and our limited talent on this planet to really solve problems. If we can redirect the technology, the innovation, the creativity to really tackle the problems embodied by the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, for example, then we have a huge opportunity. So for me, my favorite Japanese saying is pinchi o chance ni. Pinchi o chance ni. And what that means is taking a problem as an opportunity. And I think this is so important. As a social entrepreneur, speaking with other social entrepreneurs, everyone can see a problem as a major opportunity. And that's where we can leverage our productivity and our innovation to really create long-term and lasting change. Thank you for having me.